It's time to get nerdy, y'all.
A little bit of gaming history for you.
Something relevant in gaming and discuss our opinions on it.
Should we kick it out of here, or should we kick-start it?
This is the part where you, the listeners, try to stump the hosts.
I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on a podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, lads and lasses of all ages, welcome to the show. It is Monday, January 5th, 2026, and it is time to get nerdy. Welcome to episode 365 of Two Nerds in a Pod, the nerdiest gaming podcast in the multiverse. I am Mac, and I am joined by my friend, not only the first option, but also the best option, the story of his the title of his special, Mr. Lam Galuka, also known as Mr. Nice Guy 425, and for the next hour, we're going to cover a whole host of topics as they relate to our favorite art form, video games. But first, Mr. Nice Guy, we can't continue without acknowledging that at 365 episodes, you could listen to an episode a day for a whole year.
That's exactly right. And it's interesting because I feel like each of these episodes, to a certain extent, stands alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, obviously, we're talking about news each week,
Sure.
but we're also talking about a certain topic that is generally something that could be talked about at any point in time. Sometimes it's related to layoffs, sometimes it's related to something timely, but a lot of times you can just pop an episode in and have a good time, and it's a time capsule of video game news, video game commentary. So now you can listen every episode for a week, for a year.
100%. You're 100% right. Some of the stuff is very like, oh, this is going on right. And you know, nice guy, sometimes I go back and listen to some things just to be like, I wonder how wrong I was and how right you were about this thing back in episode 100 or whatever. And it's fun. It's fun to listen to that stuff.
Agree, man. Agree.
But it has been a week since we've been able to record. Been up to anything interesting?
You know what, man? New Year's Eve was awesome. Like, as you get older, and I'm not old by any stretch, you just have chill New Year's at home. You know, maybe you go out and do something, but this year we just did a little Galuka, or a little nice guy party. People know my last name. A little Galuka party. Had some really good food, played some games, and just had a good time at the house. Did go see the Milwaukee Bucks play the Charlotte Hornets last week, and that was game of the year.
Who won?
The Bucks won. And it came down to the wire. We went with some friends, had a really, really good time. Trying to think what else, man. Other than that, just taking some time off work, some R&R, lots of reading, lots of content consumption.
These friends, I haven't thrown an axe at any of them before, have I?
You have, actually. How did you know? Did I tell you I was going with them?
No, not at all, but I just assumed because they seemed really cool, and I think at some point in time we had talked sports ball as we were throwing axes, so I was like, I'm willing to bet.
Yeah, they invited us. Nice. So shout out to those friends. I don't know if I can name them, but one of them is a friend of the show. And so we went and we had a really good time, man. It was great.
Nice. Over here on the West Coast, we didn't do anything really exciting. We had a friend over for a few days, just kind of hung out, did some riding, relaxed and yeah. We also played some games and watched some television together, which I'm excited to talk about that stuff later in the show. But yeah, just a chill New Year's Eve, and I think I may have even managed to stay up until midnight.
Dude, way to go, Mac. Way to go. I did as well. I stayed up till midnight as well.
Thank you.
Well, cool, Mac. On that note, I say we do what we do best, and we hop right up in that gaming news, my friend. What do you think about that?
I think we absolutely should. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, episode 365 of Two Nerds in a Pod is a go. First news story, GameSpot.com, written by Lan Pitts. Here is what Lan writes. Steam hit a major milestone already this year, setting a new record for concurrent users, according to SteamDB. The platform peaked at 41,816,052 users online at the same time actively playing games. Not only that, but a new record for actively gaming users was also set, with that figure reaching almost 13.4 million as compared to March's 13.2 million. The timing of the record is likely no coincidence. Steam's annual winter sale, which wraps up later today, offered steep discounts on a wide range of popular titles, along with more modest deals on newer releases. Sales events have long been a reliable driver to traffic on Steam, pulling in both longtime users and players returning to pick up games they missed out on throughout the year. Mac, I just want to ask you, man, number one, Steam sale just ended today. Did you pick anything up, number one? And number two, what do you think, if anything outside of the Steam sale, is driving this new record?
So I did pick up the Mega Man X Legacy Collections 1 and 2 on the Steam sale, but that was all I picked up in this most recent Steam sale. I debated about a couple of other things, but that was all I felt like going for.
So you picked up Mega Man X, and I think we were going to talk about what else you think could be driving this. I have some strong opinions.
You know, honestly, I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? Because I trust your opinion on the Modron.
I think it's a culmination of, you know, we're coming up on the end of holiday break. So, like, people are just now getting back to work. So that's one thing, right? Perfect storm. 2025, great year of games. Number 3 Steam sale. But, Mac, I think the number one thing that is doing this is not just the perfect storm, but the fact that there are now more ways to play Steam games than ever before. And the number of ways that people have to play Steam games continues to go up almost in the same way that the number of ways there are to play Xbox games continues to go up. So, Mac, it used to be like in high school for me, Steam was like people who built a PC, right? Like that's who was playing on Steam. Then, you know, since then it's evolved to Steam Deck. It's evolved to Steam Box, which I don't think anyone's really playing on that. It's evolved to, you can probably find a way to play Steam on your tablet or your phone or just so many different ways. AYN has consoles. You know, there's just so many ways to play. I think that's what it is, man. PC gaming on the handheld has contributed.
Nice. Well, whatever it is, I'm glad to hear it. Because, I mean, it's my preferred platform, and the more people who are on it, the more likely I am to have good matches if I was the type of person who played, you know, like online competitive games.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I think is bigger as a result of this, and this gets me excited about the future, is that because we keep seeing this record go up, it's not declining. It means that when the Steam PC comes out, that I think it's more likely to find an audience. And that means more competition in the console PC hybrid marketplace, which hopefully means that everyone steps their game up a little bit, assuming that the price point is reasonable. So to me, that is the biggest thing that comes out of this, is the fact that we're seeing competition in the space, or we will.
Yeah, I do like that, because that tends to make for better products and better support. Although I've got to admit, at the back of my head is the concern about these new Steam products and what prices they're going to be.
Yeah, man. I mean, we haven't done a prediction, and we probably won't do it right now, but maybe at some point we'll make a guess of what we think it's going to cost. So, cool. Well, let's go on to the next news story. This is on GameSpot.com as well by Eddie Macick. Here's what Eddie writes. Microsoft has announced a new partnership to Hisense to bring the Xbox app to TVs that run on the company's TV operating system, formerly known as VIDAA. In essence, the big takeaway here is that people will soon be able to play Xbox games in yet another place, sticking with the theme of what we're talking about today, Mac, without needing to own an actual physical Xbox. This is possible through Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is included with Game Pass Essential, Premium, and Ultimate. Quote, our vision is to make sure your games, your community, and your achievements are always within reach. Bringing the Xbox app to select Hisense and V Home OS powered TVs is another step towards making gaming available across a broad range of devices to meeting you wherever you want to play, Microsoft said. Mac, I don't want to hate on Hisense. I mean, it's not like a premium brand.
Sure.
I don't know. And I've kind of given you my thoughts, but if you're Xbox and you're going to partner with a TV company, like, wouldn't you want to go with one of the more high-end ones that can actually take advantage of the good graphics? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I have probably a stupid question, nice guy.
Please, it's no stupid questions here.
Oh, well, just wait until you hear this humdinger. Xbox Cloud Gaming, right? You're going to, in theory, be able to play it on the television with an app. Where's the processing being done? is it all being done on the television, in which case you're really bottlenecked by how much the television, or is it processed elsewhere? Is it that it'll run it off of kind of like was it the PlayStation Portal, where it was running on your PlayStation console and streaming it to the device, and then you were interacting? Do you have any? Could you help me out?
So my understanding, and I may be completely wrong here, is that it literally is cloud gaming. So you're just playing it streaming, and it's based on your internet connection. So I don't think it's necessarily based on the hardware of your TV. I think it's more based on your internet's ability to send the image. And then maybe the servers are held elsewhere. I really don't know too much about how that works, but that's my guess. Because I've done it on the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck battery life lasts much, much longer when doing cloud gaming than it would if I was playing a game on my Steam Deck. Similarly, when I was able to stream PS5 games on my Steam Deck, the battery lasted much longer. Leads me to believe that the Steam Deck was not doing the heavy lifting. Also leads me to believe that the TV will not be doing the heavy lifting.
So let me just throw a complete crazy wild idea out. That maybe the Xbox Cloud Gaming, they're putting the toe in the water before they announce it for some real big manufacturer, that maybe will have much higher expectations, that this is kind of maybe a trial run to see what kind of reception they get from the, from those people who have high senses. I had a Hisense TV at one point in time. It was kind of a spare monitor type situation, because it wasn't that expensive. So yeah, maybe that's why they're not doing, like, and forgive me, nice guy, I know and I trust the depths that you plumb in order to bring us news. How deep in the search results did you have to go for this particular one? I'm asking, like, is it
not far? Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like people were trying to hide it.
No, they weren't trying to hide it. But I think that your point is very valid, which is sometimes you test something out with a lower model, so to speak, right? Before you go to the big dogs.
Or maybe some place like Sony or Vizio wanted more, like a more robust agreement, or wanted more stuff from Microsoft in order to do it.
Could be. And to be 100% clear, before I get a bunch of people emailing and talking about Hisense is awesome and all that, I don't have a problem with Hisense as a brand. I'm just saying that when I'm researching TVs, or when I'm reading about TVs that people are using to pair with high-end gaming, Hisense is not what comes up. It's typically LG, it's typically Sony, and those types of brands. So I also understand that streaming is probably not going to get you the best performance and take full advantage of your TV's capabilities. Regardless, a lot of gamers who have Xbox Series X have a LG TV, have an LG OLED, or a Sony OLED. And so it almost makes sense that they would go where the audience already is, rather than going to Hisense. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, completely possible. I didn't think that you had a very high sense of the Hisense brand, but I appreciate you.
Stop it. Stop it.
I know you've got nothing against them.
No, man. I got nothing against Hisense. Shout out to Hisense. So anyway, last news story of the week, IGN.com. This is about Red Dead Redemption 2, which, Mac, I don't know if you've ever played a Red Dead Redemption game or any of them, but this is interesting because it speaks to the fact that these developers are often putting stuff in games that they want us to find later. Here's what it says. Red Dead Redemption 2 fans are searching for answers to a newly discovered mystery that's been hidden within Rockstar's Cowboy sequel since its original release. After more than 7 years, a group of Red Dead aficionados recently realized that they'd stumbled on something no one had reported previously, a series of mysterious spiderwebs that began spawning on 8 telegraph poles throughout the game's vast world, each during a specific hour of the night. 2 weeks on, more clues have now been found, and it's become clear that this is a deliberate secret included by Rockstar within the game, which players are now rushing to uncover the full meaning of. I'm not going to read this whole news story. Mac, I really just want to say this is dope. Like, I always think it's dope when people find Easter eggs years and years and years after the fact, and it speaks to the brilliance of the developer. that they want people to keep playing the game for long enough to find these things, and hopefully there's some cool reward as they uncover the mystery.
I have nothing to share about Red Dead Redemption 2 in this Easter egg, which I think is cool, but I do have a quick Easter egg story to share.
Yeah, what is it?
So, Chasm has an Easter egg in it, and according to the dev of Chasm, I am the only one. I guess it's not much of an Easter egg, because the Easter eggs are there to you know what? We're cutting this whole thing in post, because I'm just realizing all I'm doing is talking about how cool I think I am, and not on task about Easter eggs, because that's no Easter egg. A secret room's a secret.
Well, I mean, it depends. If the dev says it's an Easter egg, then hey, it's an Easter egg.
Well, I don't think he called it an Easter egg. I think he called it a secret, a secret dev room, so...
Yeah, we could cut this. We could cut the banter. That's been the news for the week.
All right. Well, now that we've seen what's going on around us right now, let's go ahead and take a look into the past with some video game history. Mr. Nice Guy, we have had some real cool things happen this last week in the years that have come before. And I want to share a couple with you, some that are a little bit more impactful, some maybe a little bit less. Starting in, well, we'll start at the later and move toward the earlier. In 1998, for the Nintendo 64, a little game called Castlevania 64. I have played this game. It was rough. I mean, it's not Superman 64 rough, but it was pretty rough. Have you played that 3D Castlevania?
No, man. You know, some of these old games on 64 that are quote-unquote rough, we're not wasting my time with.
Yeah.
I'm all about 64, but I'm all about the best games on there.
Yeah, no, I understand. And with backlogs as big as we have, I wouldn't waste the time. Although, there is something to be said about the... I don't know if jank is the right word, but like the sheer like bugginess of the game in parts is really quite profound. Well, to something that is significantly more well put together and quite enjoyable in 1995 and 1993 for the PC, we've got Simon the Sorcerer 1 and 2, both excellent point-and-click adventure games. That genre has a special place in my heart, and Simon the Sorcerer 1 and 2 really quite good. Jump a little bit farther back, or farther forward actually, put these out of order. 1996, Blizzard had themselves a little bit of a problem where they wanted to do some online gaming. And back in those days, it wasn't quite so easy as just spinning up some servers, getting AWS on board. You have to go and make your own whole thing. And for Blizzard, that was Battle.net, which we would wind up using for Diablo, for StarCraft, and the like.
Warcraft.
Mr. Nice Guy, any memories of Battle.net?
Yeah, dude. I used to play a lot of Warcraft 3.
Nice.
With the friends. Never got into World of Warcraft. Kind of wish I had, kind of grateful I haven't. But yeah, man, great memories of Battle.net.
Absolutely. Well, and then, Mr. Nice Guy, I think probably one of the big ones happened today, as a matter of fact. The 5th of January in Las Vegas at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show. Because, of course, back in those days, it was twice a year, once in the winter, once in the summer. Nintendo, little upstart, brings the advanced video system to show off. It looks different, very different from the NES that we would see released later on. It had almost a more, I would say, sort of luxury look to it. It had, it had sharp edges, almost chrome-looking things. There have been some people over at the Video Game History Foundation that have a lot of stuff like some of the old distributed materials, leaflets, and the like that have been digitized that lead to that just look fascinating. But I have seen folks claim that it was poorly received. Not just poorly received, but an insane disaster. I've seen the claim that not a single outlet placed even a single order for the Nintendo Advanced Video System back there at CES. Now, I don't know if that's accurate, and I want to be clear that I try and, get primary sources for things. But the one thing we can confirm is that it is the case that it was not especially well received because of lackluster interest there at the CES show. They did a redesign that we would know and love from our childhoods of the NES. But nice guy, there are some things that the AVS had going for it that we either didn't see in the NES or would see a version of much later down the road that were sort of demoed as being there from the beginning. And I want to list out a couple of them and ask you which of these you would have wanted with your NES.
Okay.
So they debuted they had a keyboard, like a computer keyboard, for interacting with the AVS. They had a disk drive, a music, and by discs we're talking like floppy disk style discs, not CDs. A music keyboard, and I think it was something like a 42 key music keyboard or somewhere in there, and wireless controllers at launch is what these things that they were demoing. Now, nice guy, any of those appeal to you, and if so, which and why?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most obvious one would be the wireless controllers. So, I mean, just simply, you remember playing with corded controllers. It's not a huge deal, but it did limit how far away you could sit from the console, and, you had to be close. So I think that would have been absolutely a game changer at that time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have gone for the music keyboard myself.
Really?
I would have driven my parents absolutely crazy if I was back there in the room jamming out or trying to on the NES. But anyway, we got what we got as a result of the objective lackluster reception today in 1985. And Mr. Nice Guy, that's what I had for history for us today.
Nice. Love it, love it, love it. Well, Mac, I'm excited to talk about this next one. We've talked a lot about Steam today. We're going to talk about Steam some more. By the way, everyone listening, now is time for our topic of the week, a segment where we talk about something relevant in gaming and give our opinions on it. And Mac, Steam's 2025 Game of the Year has been revealed, plus other winners. This is written by Blair Marnell on GameSpot.com. Steam users have chosen 2025's Game of the Year winner, and it shouldn't be too surprising that it was Hollow Knight Silksong. And, one of the biggest titles on the platform since its debut last year. Amongst the games Silksong edged out in the category were the Game Awards Game of the Year winner Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and Indie Game Awards Game of the Year winner Blue Prince. Expedition 33 had previously won both awards and was stripped of its Indie Game Awards over AI concerns, which is super interesting. We probably should talk about that at some point, and maybe we will as we talk right now. Mac, let's just dive in and talk about some of the games that won. And then I actually would like to hear your thoughts on AI, and I'd also like to hear your thoughts on why the user-voted Steam Awards don't seem to get as much recognition, as much legitimacy from the industry as the media-voted Game Awards do. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Here's some of the games that won. We just said Game of the Year award went to Hollow Knight Silksong by Team Cherry. Runners-up, just so y'all know, Arc Raiders, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Dispatch, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. VR Game of the Year award went to Moonhood by Fast Travel Games. I think it's super interesting that one of the runners-up was Pavlov. That's a game that's been out for a while. Labor of Love award went to Baldur's Gate 3 by Larian Studios. Runners-up were Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky, Rust, and Dota 2. Best game on the Steam Deck went to Hades 2. I'm going to breeze through some of these. Better with Friends went to Peak. Let's see which other ones we want to talk about. Most Innovative Gameplay went to Arc Raiders. Best Game You Suck At award went to Hollow Knight Silksong. Soundtrack went to Claire Obscure. And Outstanding Story-Rich Game award went to Dispatch, Mac. So yeah, let's talk about those two things. I mean, we can talk about the fact that Claire Obscure was stripped of its Indie Game Award for AI concerns. We can also talk about the other thing, which is why the Steam Awards don't get as much recognition being a user-voted award compared to the Game Awards, which are media.
Yeah. On the subject of the AI usage, now I have not been following this too closely because I'm not the news guy, I'm the history guy. But as I understand it, Nice Guy, early on, they released the game, and there were some assets in the game that they said were placeholder AI stuff that they patched out pretty quick. And so, Expedition 33, as it stands, in theory, does not currently have those placeholder assets. Whatever that means. I don't even know what assets those might have been. And I'm given to understand that was at least publicly known back well before the voting.
Well, so just to add some clarity
please.
here, it says that Sandfall states, and this is from a different news story, I'll read the author in a minute, that the only AI-generated assets in the game were placed as temporary placeholder textures, like you said, that were missed during the Expedition 33's QA process. Once the assets were identified, they were removed within 5 days and replaced by the intended textures. That's from a story by Blair Marnell on December 22nd.
Look, I think it's hard to say that they acted with, malice, or they were trying to pull a fast one on putting out a product that they didn't do most of the work on, It does sound to me like that. Now, obviously, I have a slightly different view of what placeholder assets look like. So I don't even know what would have been left behind. But still, nonetheless, I think if they made a mistake and they fixed it, isn't that what the glorious thing about digital distribution and the modern era is that you can push as many updates as you want, as quick as you want, and fix the things on the fly, do it live, as it were. I just don't know as that rises to the level of why I would. And don't get me wrong, I'm saddened that Silksong did not receive Game of the Year, Indie Game of the Year from the Game Awards. But I don't think this feels like a technicality that I would not have ejected somebody based on.
Yeah, I think the technicality thing I agree with. I think the other thing, the part that I maybe disagree with is I don't expect perfection from game devs. I've never made a game, certainly not one of that scale, and things get missed.
Sure,
we're all familiar with the maybe many of us remember the hot coffee mod from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas back in the day, where people could unlock some adult content that was left in the game that they had meant to take out, and it caused a big controversy. I never played that content, but I've read about it, right? So these things happen, but I have to think that if we're using AI as a placeholder, there has to be a way for us to maybe even use AI as part of our QA process to find it and make sure it's not still there. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but that's my opinion. Mac, I'd really like to hear your thoughts more on why the Steam Awards don't seem to get as much recognition as the Game Awards. And what I mean by that is there will be a Game of the Year edition of Clair Obscur. And it's based on the fact that it won Game of the Year at the Game Awards. I don't know if there would be a Game of the Year edition of Silksong or of another game that won, simply because the Steam Awards, user voted, aren't as recognized as widely as universally in the industry. Why do you think that is, man?
I think, and I could be completely wrong, but I think when you ask somebody whose job it is to review games or to talk about games, that they might have a different viewpoint than somebody whose primary motivation is, I paid money and wanted to have a fun experience. I don't think that you can't get, good, solid, or reasonable opinions from somebody who receives the game for free, or even who, as a pastime, has a multi-award winning video game podcast. I'm not saying that we're different, cut from a different cloth, but I do think that sometimes the motivation or the ideas behind are just a little bit different. And I think from a, what would we call it? From like a literary perspective, or is Clair Obscura a more interesting or intriguing idea? Maybe to some people. Was Silksong just more fun for more people? Probably. Also, I don't know what the balance of players was, or perhaps even this being voted on is a bit of a backlash to the snub. That gamers from such a beloved franchise and a beloved team.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, maybe it is, maybe it's chicken and egg, maybe it's related, but that's kind of the thoughts that I have on it. I think it could be that we're talking cross purposes, and maybe it even could be that it is just a little bit of spite, a very powerful motivating force.
I hadn't even thought about that, man, because we see that in politics, right? Where one candidate wins and people are unhappy for 4 years or 2 years or however long that particular person's term is. And then the next year or the next term, they turn out and they vote, right? Because they're like, I'm not dealing with this again. So it could very well be a similar thing in the games industry where people are saying, man, I really thought Silksong deserved to win. I am going to vote, and maybe I'm even going to make multiple Steam accounts and vote multiple times. And so the fact that that could even happen is probably part of the reason that the legitimacy doesn't exist. There's the potential people are making multiple accounts. There's the potential people are kind of cheating the vote. There's also, candidly, the fact that the average gamer may not have played as many games as people whose job it is to review these games. I don't think that their opinion is more valid. And I'm not sure if that's what you were trying to say. If it is, I would disagree. For the same reason that I would say Lone Fungus is better than a lot of other games that are out there. Because I believe that an indie studio, that an individual or a group can produce something that is just as good as someone who has tons and tons of money in a AAA. But I guess to answer the question, this is the same thing in sports. Media opinions are valued more than fan opinions. And I just don't think that it is right. I think that if you win the Steam Award, you should feel completely comfortable putting that on a copy of your game that is released at a later date. Because it shows that those who spent their own money really liked your game.
Yeah, and what greater award could there be than an award like that?
I could talk about this all day. We just legitimately don't have the time. Shout out to the Steam Awards. I'll say this, and then, Mac, you can say anything else you want to say. Because they did have a much more diverse, and what I mean by diverse is that there are simply a larger quantity of games that won awards here than there were at the Game Awards. Yes, there's a different category of awards that are here, but nothing clean swept all the places they were nominated. And I think that that's good for gaming. I think it's good for the industry.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Cool. That's been Topic of the Week.
All right. Well, now we turn to a crowdfunding project that's trying to get off the ground. We call this Kick or Kickstart. Mr. Nice Guy, I'm bringing an update, a report, if you will, on a little something. It would have been the first episode of of 2025, back in episode 330, that we talked about a little project, a hand-drawn game guide for Mega Man. And I'm just going to drop a link in the chat so that anybody who hears with us live can have a look. This, of course, is a project that has been funded. It is a project that has been completed and a project that has been delivered. And I thought maybe it might be worth just taking a little look back at it. So, the guide was meant to be drawn, 200 plus pages, hardcover, and delivered in August of 2025. Now, how exactly did that play out? Pretty decent, actually. I had my copy in hand before Christmas. So August, September, October, November, December, 4 months. As far as Kickstarters go, that's not so bad. A lot of Kickstarters, we see delays of multiple years. $39 got you both the hardcover book as well as the digital version as well, which I opted for that one, and it was surprisingly good. It did wind up getting $152,000 out of their goal of about $20,000 to bring it together. And it was real nice. It had these layouts for all of the levels in the original Mega Man, a lot of tips and tricks. You know, it had that sort of vibe that you would have found... that you would have found not just like, yeah, sure, it had the good information that you would have found in like the pack-in information, like in the game booklet.
Sure,
but
sure.
It had that sort of love and awesomeness that you would have found in like your notebook, right? Surely I'm not the only one who back in the day like was taking notes in a notebook on, you know, playing an NES game.
You definitely were not the only one.
And so, with some excellent artistry, some great notes and such, it's basically, if you've ever played Mega Man but thought it was too hard, this really would walk you through it quite well. And, as an added bonus, also has a guide for Mega Man 1 Game Boy as well that does just the same and walks you through everything. You know, it's hard to put it into words because it's such a visual production, but I spent some time over the holidays relaxing, well, prior to the holidays, relaxing and reading through it, and honestly, nice guy, I have absolutely no regrets. My bookshelf is getting pretty darn full, but hey, it earned its spot, and I'm happy about it.
Dude, I'm glad that you're happy about it. I think that this type of stuff is niche, but I think that it also has mass appeal once it comes out of Kickstarter form. So, like, in other words, to get it kickstarted, it's a very specific audience. But once it's out there, maybe you get it in a bookstore, you put it on your website and more people can purchase it, and it may not become the definitive guide for Mega Man, but it could definitely become something that's recognized as a really good option outside of what's available on
Yeah, and it really is. It's really lovely. And you can buy copies of it from the from the creator for books beyond what they needed necessarily to fill the pledges there on Kickstarter. So if you missed it the first time, you can still get one for a pretty reasonable price, and you can also get the digital copy as well if you are the type of person who just enjoys their books digitally. You guys are out there. I will say I was really excited about getting it, enjoyed it, excited that it did so well. I'm hopeful that that this winds up getting us a Mega Man 2 version. So NF Publishing, if you're listening, which I highly doubt you are, but if you are, Mega Man 2, we need it. And I don't really have the usual kick or kickstart to ask for everybody here. Because it's already through there. But if there is a Mega Man 2 version of this, I would absolutely instant kickstart it, personally.
Nice. Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you for that, Mac. And I'm glad that this thing succeeded because I think it's, like I said, it's niche, but it also is very, very cool. So now it's time for a segment of the show called Nerd Flex.
Woohoo!
A segment where you, the viewer, try to stump the host. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. If you're here live, you have a job to do. If you'd like, put a multiple choice gaming-related question in the chat. Mac and I will use nothing but our noggins to try to answer that question, and we'll see what we come up with. But Mac, to start, guess what we have? We have some questions from our test bank.
Woo-woo.
And one of them just popped up that I know we've done before. Mm-hmm. A second one popped up that I know we've done before. Just so people know, the first one was, what is the name of the Pokemon episode that caused children to have seizures? I know we've done that. The second one that just popped up is, what are the name of Samuel L. Jackson's character in San Andreas? Officer Tenpenny, one of the best games of all time. But let's see what we got Here, Mac, have we done this one? Which professional wrestler played Mario in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show? We may have done this one, too.
We have done this one, yeah.
Dude, it's given us... We may need to come up with a new test bank. As many questions as are in here, we're starting to get some overlap. Okay, so here is... This is almost too easy, but it's fun. It's nostalgic. We'll do it. Special round. Name 3 games released in the 1980s. Have we done this one? I feel like this is so easy, but it's fun to get nostalgic.
We haven't, but like, as it says, special round, that's a bare minimum.
Yeah.
I can name a few, but nice guy, how about we alternate if that's cool?
Let's do it, and we'll see if I'm right about the ones I think were from the 80s.
Sweet. Mega Man 1.
Okay. Super Mario Brothers. Original.
Duck Hunt?
I thought we would immediately go to arcade stuff. Miss Pac-Man.
Let's see. E.T.
Okay, we talked about that last week. I'm going to guess that Galaga was from the 80s. It might have been late 70s, but I think it was 80s.
Another one we talked about, Rubik's Cube for the Atari 2600, we know came out in the 80s. And flopped.
And let's see, what else? So Tetris came out at launch for the original Game Boy. So I'm going to guess that it was...
It was definitely in the 80s.
89. Yeah.
Let's see. I think we could do the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah, 100%. Legend of Zelda.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 80s. And you know what? I'm going to get crazy, and I'll say Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
The Adventure of Link, Mac's favorite Zelda game. And I think, did I go first or did you go first? Because we could do this all night.
We could do this all day.
So I'm going to end with Space Invaders. That might have been late 70s, but I think it was 80s.
Okay. Well, we've done at least the 3 required.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to go over the ones on the back of the card because they're all the ones that we named.
Nice.
But I'm curious. I got to look up and see if Galaga and Space Invaders were actually late 70s or early 80s because that may be. But, okay, so let's move on to our next question. And I don't have the chat pulled up. If anyone types anything in there, let me know, Matt.
Got it.
In terms of questions. But let's do this one. Okay, this is a fun one as we're talking about AIs, and it's another special round.
Okay.
Name 2 video game AIs.
Well, GLaDOS, for one.
Dude, that was the only one I could think of.
Oh, no.
I can't think of any other video game AIs. I'm trying to think.
What about, what are the AIs? I know that there's some that fly around in, like, Destiny, voiced by Peter Dinklage. I don't know the name.
Yeah, dude, I can't remember what they're called either.
And then, of course, we've got our main girl, Cortana, obviously.
Yeah, from Halo. And then there was AI.
And, of course, from Halo Infinite, we have Weapon.
Yep, and there was AI in, the little servants in Fallout 4. Those were AI robots.
For sure. Then there's, what is it? The main villain from System Shock. I'm trying to remember her name. Struggling with that one. I can name the game. I can't name the character.
That's all good. What about Claptrap? I think Claptrap counts as an AI robot from Borderlands.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's so many, dude.
Yeah, it's hard to know where
let's
to start.
Let's keep it moving. On the back it says GLaDOS, Wheatley, Ghost, London, and Cortana are the answers that it gives, and we provided a lot of those.
Nice.
So,
where's London from?
I don't know.
Huh.
Well, cool. Let's do one more, and it's a Rockstar question. Which British MP is famous for campaigning against Rockstar? Is this maybe supposed to say PM, British PM, Prime Minister?
No, I think they also have MPs. I mean, it could be PM, but I think they also have MPs. I have absolutely no idea.
Me neither. Let's see what the answer is. Keith Vaz. We're going to look up Keith Vaz later and see why Keith is so against Rockstar. And hey,
he's on our list.
He's on our list, along with Arnold Schwarzenegger and many others who have campaigned against video games. That has been our Nerdflux for the week.
All right. Well, now we turn to a little bit of legalese.
Legalese.
I am not a lawyer. I just kind of play one here on a podcast. And I want to talk a little bit about copyright and the public domain. It's something that comes up, a thing or two. It's a topic over the years, because when a person creates something, it's a protectable work of authorship. And if you plan on enforcing that, you can register it with the Copyright Office. And that copyright lasts for a length of time, after which it becomes public domain. Back in 1790, copyright law was 14 years, and then one renewal of another 14 years. In 1831, Noah Webster of Webster's Dictionary fame managed to get it increased to 28 years and one renew of 14 more years. In 1976, they upped it to 75 years or the life of the author plus 50 years. And then in 1998, it was extended to life of the author plus 70 or 95 years from the date of creation, mostly on the request of Disney, the NFL, and movie companies. However, it should be noted that 70/95, life of the author plus 70/95, was a big compromise, because as the MPAA, the people who make movies, were like, well, it literally violates the Constitution to make copyright last forever, but why not forever minus 1 day? And I'm not making that up. The official stance of the movie-making folks, which Disney signed on to, of course, was, we know it's illegal for it to be infinity, but infinity minus 1 is totally cool, right, guys? But that's neither here nor there. I'm getting far afield. But every year, Mr. Nice Guy, things go over that, and then they become public domain, which means that all of sort of the gatekeepers are gone. The people who did the creative work, right, who, whether they wrote the story, acted in the movie, performed the music, they have gotten their due. And now, whatever anybody wants to do with it is fair game. You want to remix that thing? Go for it. You want to do some stuff? Have at it. And so, Nice Guy, I want to share with you and everybody some of the cool new things that are a part of the public domain. A couple of books that you might have heard of. The Little Engine That Could.
Of course. Classic.
Public domain now. The Maltese Falcon.
Not familiar, but I'm going to guess public domain.
Yes. The book, The Maltese Falcon, there was a movie later on. It's portrayed, I believe it was Humphrey Bogart. Anyway, Maltese Falcon, a classic. Just the book is public domain. Some music, for example, if you're a fan of Judy Garland and Gene Kelly, the song, Leave Your Worries, Come On, Get Happy. That song, public domain now.
Okay, I was going to say stop, copyright strike, but we're good because it's public domain.
We are good now. And then, of course, one very big movie from 31 that's now public domain, and that is All Quiet on the Western Front, considered to be one of the greatest war movies ever made. So, yeah, totally public domain. Now, they did do a remake in, I want to say, recently, like in the past couple of years. You would not be able to remix or remake that movie, but just so long as what you were doing was based on the original All Quiet on the Western Front, you would be in great shape. So one of the important things is that it will be for ages before Super Mario Brothers goes into the public domain. I don't think any of us are going to be around for that. However, if you were just dying to make a video game, for example, based on the Maltese Falcon or All Quiet on the Western Front, or even The Little Engine That Could, 2 Engine 2 Furious.
No, stop it.
You
stop
now
it.
can make that happen. And just a quick shout out to a YouTuber, Steve Shives, who every single year does a YouTube video on the new public domain works that are coming out. So if you want to hear more about some of the cool things, he throws one together each year. But nice guy. That's what I had for Legalese today. Some cool new things, or should I say some cool old things that you could make cool new things.
Nice. Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for all your comments in the chat. We're going to have a post show and talk about some of this stuff because I think it's super interesting. But before we go, Mac, we have one last segment called What We've Been Watching and What We've Been Playing, where we talk about the cool nerdy stuff we've been into across all platforms. Maybe it's stuff we're reading, maybe it's stuff we're listening to. As long as it's nerdy, it fits in this category. And if you're here live, let us know in the chat what you've been into. Mac, what you been doing the past couple weeks?
Well, I have been having a good time hanging out with some friends. I have been playing some Dungeons and Dragons in the meat space and playing a little game called Cave Blazers. Shout out to Ishmobile for getting me into that one. But I have been watching a series recommended by the friend who came to visit. Just burned through, I think, a season and 2 seasons. It's the Wheel of Time series that Amazon was doing some years back that, unfortunately didn't get renewed. So I know that that the 3rd season will be the final bit. But I read the Wheel of Time series back in high school. And so, of course, it wasn't complete back then. But I did read the books, and so watching the television series has certainly been interesting because, I remember a lot of things, but there's plenty that it's like, oh, that's an interesting way that you did that. And so,
sure.
It's been a fun thing, and also watching it with some people who've never read the book at all. So it's been interesting as I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen, or at least I have an inkling. I may not know how they're going to get there, but I know we're going to get there. So it's pretty fun. What about you, nice guy? What have you been watching and playing and reading?
Dude, so I've been into so much stuff. So I guess number one, I've been reading a lot, right? I got some cool books for Christmas, and I just finished reading Mistborn.
Nice.
And that was phenomenal. I don't know if you've ever read that book or heard of it, Mac. It's a Brandon Sanderson, one of the first books recommended to read in his Cosmere universe, and it's absolutely prime. Great book, great content, just super cool character development. Loved it. And then, the other day I was sitting at home, and a package showed up on my door, and I was not expecting a package. And there was a book in this package, and I've been reading said book. I don't know who sent me this book.
Mystery book?
It's a mystery book, and it is called, I'm holding it up for people to see, it is called The History of Nintendo Volume 4.
Ooh.
About the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really good. It's written by Florent Gorges and has some great visuals, has some great history, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. And then, Mac, the last thing I got to say is I treated myself for Christmas.
Yeah?
And I splurged, and I bought myself a new gaming handheld. So I've been playing on my new gaming handheld, and it's prime, and it is called the AYN Thor.
Nice.
And so I've been having a fun time playing on that, and it's good. Mac, chat is kind of quiet, even though I know y'all are in here. We have one person who told us what they're watching and playing. What do you think about reading that?
Absolutely. So Galvatron's been playing Ninja Gaiden 4, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, Dispatch, Metroid Prime 4 as well, and watching Blood of Zeus Season 3, Fallout Season 2, and Marty Supreme. And I have to admit, Fallout Season 2 is on my list.
Same.
Gotta finish Wheel of Time first, though.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, to episode 365. You can now go back and listen to an episode of our podcast every single week for a full year. And we're not stopping anytime soon. Next week, Mac, is a special episode.
Yes.
And guess what? We're going to have a guest who's going to talk about Game of the Year with us. Mac's going to host it and probably throw some trivia our way, and it's going to be awesome. So we'll see you next week. Same bat place, same bat time, same bat rhymes. Keep it nerdy, y'all, and be excellent to each other.
Bye.
See ya.